United States President Donald Trump says he has told Canada it will have to pay $61 billion to be part of his proposed Golden Dome missile defense system if they remain a separate, but an equal, nation. In a post on Truth Social, Trump claimed Canada very much wants to be part of our fabulous Golden Dome system and would gain free access if it joins with the U.S. Participating in the proposed defense system would cost Canada $0 if they become our cherished 51st state, Trump said, adding, they are considering the offer. Trump's post came just hours after Canada's Parliament hosted the UK's King Charles III for a rare royal speech in which the monarch emphasized Canada's sovereignty in dangerous and uncertain times, and amid the U.S. President's exhortations for the country to become part of the U.S. Following the King's speech, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney told Canadian public broadcaster CBC that he hopes Canada will join Rearm Europe by July 1st, in an effort to reduce dependence on the U.S. for weapons. Canada did not immediately respond to Trump's latest comment, but Carney has previously confirmed his country has held high-level talks on the defense system issue with the U.S. In total, Trump has claimed the Golden Dome system will cost some $175 billion and would be completed by the end of his current term in 2029. Although defense industry experts have questioned the feasibility of this timeline and budget, Trump is hoping to secure an initial $25 billion funding for the system through the sweeping Big, Beautiful bill, which is next to go up for a vote in the Senate after narrowly passing the Republican-controlled U.S. House of Representatives last week. The bill boosts spending on the military and border enforcement while cutting funding for social programs, including Medicaid and food assistance that help tens of millions of low-income Americans. The Golden Dome is modeled after Israel's Iron Dome, which also receives significant funding from the U.S., including $500 million per year for its upkeep. It isn't clear how Trump would scale up the Iron Dome to cover the entire U.S., since Israel is only about the size of New Jersey, one of the smaller states in the U.S. The Iron Dome is also designed to target short-range missiles, with a range of 1,000 kilometers, about 620 miles. While the main threat to the U.S. would likely come from long-range, ballistic, and hypersonic missiles, Golden Dome will create space arms race. China, North Korea, and Russia have all criticized Trump's plan to put weapons in space, which the U.S. president described in detail for the first time last week. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs swiftly responded, with spokeswoman Mao Ning saying the plan heightens the risk of space becoming a battlefield, fuels an arms race, and undermines international security. The United States puts its own interests first and is obsessed with seeking its own absolute security, which violates the principle that no country's security should come at the expense of others, Mao Ning said. North Korea's Ministry of Foreign Affairs also responded, saying the U.S. is hell-bent on the moves to militarize outer space. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said on Tuesday that the Golden Dome project undermines the foundations of strategic stability as it involves the creation of a global missile defense system. According to Russia's state news agency TASS, Zakharova said developing the Golden Dome would also lead to development of the means of pre-launch missile destruction and infrastructure that ensures their use. This is already a literal manifestation of the US's highly dangerous doctrinal course toward delivering so-called preventive, but essentially first strikes, she said, warning it would turn space into a weaponized environment and an arena of armed confrontation, in what feels like a surreal episode penned straight from the writer's room in Springfield. Real-life politics recently took a turn so bizarre, it echoed with unmistakable Simpsons energy. Simpsons' predictions in regard to the ongoing Trump-Canada Golden Dome. In early 2025, former President Donald Trump posted a statement on Truth Social outlining a bold, some say, outlandish geopolitical proposal. He announced plans for a sprawling $175 billion Golden Dome missile defense system, a technologically advanced shield, supposedly modeled after Israel's Iron Dome, designed to intercept threats from adversarial nations. But the twist: he offered Canada a choice to join the Golden Dome program for free, but only if Canada agreed to become the 51st state of the United States. If they refused, Trump claimed Canada would be required to pay $61 billion to participate in the defense system as a separate but unequal ally. The rhetoric sent shockwaves through international media. Political analysts, foreign diplomats, and late-night comedians scrambled to respond. The notion of annexing Canada, America's quiet neighbor to the north, was so theatrical, so overtly imperial. It felt more like a satirical cartoon than actual policy discourse. And yet, this isn't the first time we've seen this kind of storyline. The Simpsons has spent decades mocking hyperpatriotism, American exceptionalism, and the absurdity of unchecked political ambition. In multiple episodes like the now infamous Bart to the Future and The Joy of Sect, the show depicted the United States aggressively asserting global dominance, often under the guidance of charismatic, egotistical leaders. One of the eeriest parallels lies in The Simpsons movie 2007, where the U.S. government builds a massive containment dome over Springfield. Yes, a literal dome allegedly for public safety, but in reality driven by overreach, paranoia, and incompetence. Sound familiar? Trump's proposed Golden Dome may not be placed over a single town, but the symbolism is striking. A dome meant to protect, but whose politics threaten to overshadow diplomacy with dominance. A borderless, bulletproof dream that sounds more like science fiction than strategy. And then there's the Canada connection. In the Simpsons universe, Canada has long been depicted as a passive bystander to America's antics, often the butt of jokes or a place characters escape to when things get too crazy. In the U.S., the idea that Trump would dangle defense protection over Canada's sovereignty feels lifted directly from an absurd Springfield subplot. Even Trump's language is separate but unequal evokes dystopian themes the show has explored, from authoritarian governments to cult-like national movements. In The Joy of Sect, townspeople blindly follow the leader, abandoning common sense for charismatic slogans. In Trumptastic Voyage and similar episodes, the caricature of Trump as a loud, gold-plated empire builder is unmistakable. What makes this prediction stand out isn't that The Simpsons literally wrote a scene where Trump tries to make Canada the 51st state. It's that they so perfectly captured the political theater, the megalomaniac ambition, and the surreal absurdity of such a move years before it would ever make a real headline.
Tuesday, President Trump wrote on his Truth Social account that Canada is considering his offer regarding his Golden Dome system. He said in part, quote, "I told Canada, which very much wants to be part of our fabulous Golden Dome system, that it'll cost $61 billion if they remain a separate but unequal nation, but will cost $0 if they become our cherished 51st state." Last week, the president announced they want to move forward with creating a so-called Golden Dome. It would be like a missile defense system using satellites to detect, track, and intercept incoming ballistic missiles. The project could reportedly cost hundreds of billions of dollars.
It should be fully operational before the end of my term.
According to a Politico report, Canada would be a critical centerpiece for a project like this. The northern country could give the U.S. valuable airspace for sensors to intercept or shoot down missiles that China and Russia are developing to fly over the North Pole. According to other reports, Canadian officials are in discussions on security-related issues with the U.S., including the Golden Dome and NORAD, but not giving up its independence. The president has repeatedly stated he wants our northern neighbor to join the U.S. However, Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney has repeatedly said that is not an option.
It's not for sale, won't be for sale, ever.
In a recent speech to Canada's Parliament, King Charles, who is the head of state in Canada, a member of the Commonwealth, showed support for Canada following Trump's 51st statehood comments.
Democracy, pluralism, the rule of law, self-determination and freedom are values which Canadians hold dear and ones which the government is determined to protect.
To protect our homeland from the threat of foreign missile attack. And that's what we're doing. Once fully constructed, the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles even if they are launched from other sides of the world and even if they are launched from space. Thank you for being here in the Oval Office, the great places of the world. End of my term, so we'll have it done in about 3 years.
It's a generational investment in the security of America and Americans. President Reagan 40 years ago cast the vision for it. The technology wasn't there. Now it is, and you're following through to say we will protect the homeland from cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, drones, whether they're conventional or nuclear.
And the members of his cabinet that attended for welcoming me. And
Canada has called us and they want to be a part of it. So we'll be talking to them. They want to have protection also. So as usual, we help Canada do the best we can. You see what we've done helping Israel. They launched probably 500 missiles altogether, and I think one half of a missile got through, and that was only falling to the ground as scrap metal. It's pretty amazing.
thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Bringing back common sense. I mean, that's the continuing theme that we all talk about.
Mr. President, what's your message to the whole now?
Mr. President, you have said that Canada should become the 51st state.
Yeah. No. Well, I still believe that, but you know, takes two to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, you know, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever.
Canada is stepping up the military participation because Mark knew, you know, they were low and now they're stepping it up, and that's a very important thing. But never say never. Never say never.